Hello everyone, my name is EVOO and welcome to Cooking with the Koyas. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the name of the episode, and you still tuned in. And that's really good because today, folks, I'm going to share with you my recipe on how I make tripe, otherwise known in Italian as trippa. And you know, back in the day, they used to eat trippa because they didn't want any food to go to waste and they had to. Well, nowadays, we still don't want any food to go to waste, but we also eat it because it's a delicacy, it's delicious. And I developed this recipe a number of years ago. It is absolutely delicious, and I'm gonna show you how we make it right now. Let's get started. So I have here 2.5 pounds of trippa, okay? And all you do is take your tripe and put it into a pot with water. And look how beautiful this trippa is. You know, it's also referred to as honeycomb tripe. You could see the honeycomb on there. Back in the day, my father used to buy it straight from the butcher, and he used to have to wash it and clean it and get it prepped himself. And today it comes all beautifully nice and cleaned and prepped and ready to go. So there you go. Just put it in a pot. Make sure there's enough water in there because we're going to bring this to a boil and let it boil for 30 minutes. So we have the boil we've been looking for. So now that it's come to a boil, at this point we're going to start our timer for 30 minutes. So let's get our timer started for 30 minutes. And I also want to say, for those of you who have eaten trippa before, get ready to up your game because this recipe is nothing short of fantastic. I think you're going to notice a big difference when you make the trippa next time using this recipe. And if you've never eaten it before and you're going to eat it for the first time, then by all means use this recipe. Let's start off on the right foot. That's how confident I am with this recipe. Can't wait to share it with you. Okay, so we're going to let this boil for 30 minutes, and in the meanwhile we can get our other ingredients ready. So in a pot, yes, you know what we're going to start with. Extra virgin olive oil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, to that we are going to add 1 chili pepper. I have 1 dried chili pepper here. If you do not have a dried chili pepper, then you could use just chili flakes and just put as much as you want to taste. I'm also going to add, let's actually fire that up. Let's get that on medium. I'm going to add here, I have 1 celery stalk that I have chopped up into little bits, as you can see there. So in goes the celery. I also have 1 medium-sized, small to medium-sized sweet onion that I have sliced thinly and then diced. We're going to add that. Okay. I also have 1 garlic clove that I have also diced. So we're going to add our 1 clove of garlic. In it goes. Prosciutto. I have here about 2 ounces of prosciutto, which is equivalent to about 60 grams, that I have also diced, as you can see here, into, you know, little pieces. So diced up prosciutto. There's 1 and 2. So we have 2 sun-dried tomatoes, and we are also going to add, I have 1 lamb bone here. So you want a piece of lamb to be around about 6 ounces. And all you need is the cheapest cut of lamb you could have. So about 6 ounces of lamb, which is about 170 grams, thereabouts. Add that to your pot as well. And now just mix all these ingredients together. Let me bring the heat up a little bit higher. Let's bring it up to temperature. Get all those ingredients kind of tossed up together because they're going to lightly saute now for about 10 minutes. So let's check in on them in about 10 minutes and we'll see how they're doing. I can see it starting, I can hear it starting to sizzle now just a bit. So I'm going to drop my heat down to medium. And we're going to continue to stir every so often, but we're going to give this a good 10 minutes. That is looking really good. Our lamb has browned up nicely. Our sun-dried tomatoes are there. And by the way, these 2 sun-dried tomatoes give off a ton of flavor. Okay, so our onion is nice and soft. It's been 10 minutes. Time to add some white wine. In fact, we're going to add 1/2 cup of white wine, and I would recommend use a good white wine and a dry white wine, not a sweet one. So get yourself a nice, good, dry white wine and add that to the pot. Now you're going to want to let this simmer for 3 to 5 minutes. And again, mix everything together, get all those flavors incorporated, get that wine starting to infuse into those other ingredients. And let's just get this sauteed up for another 5 minutes. Our 5 minutes are now up, and this is now the base, going to become the base for our sauce, for our tripa. So we can turn this off right now because our tripa is not ready yet. This is multitasking. As that was boiling, we're getting this prepped and ready so we don't waste any time. That's going to be done soon, and we'll go to the next step. There goes our timer. Gas can go off. Our tripa is now ready to be drained. Okay, run some cold water. There we go, get that drained. And we're going to want our tripa to cool down a bit before we handle it. So I'm going to run it under a little bit of cold water just to help cool it down somewhat so that it's easily manageable. There's our nice tripa right there. And if you see any excess fat, you can just remove it. See these little bits of excess fat? I mean, you don't have to, but I prefer to do that. Just remove the little bit of excess fat. This, of course, is beef tripe that we're cooking today. All right, so what you want to do is you want to slice this up now, basically about finger size, about a 1/2 inch. I'm going to say a 1/2 inch wide by maybe 4 inches long. So, I mean, just thereabouts. So I'm going to just say, okay, we'll just cut that there like so. And now I'll start cutting, you know, about a 1/2 inch, roughly. 3/4 inch. There you go. So you end up with, oops, okay. You end up with a piece like that. Okay, you want them, you know, roughly around about the same size. So let's take that, put them all in there, and continue cutting. So this piece, of course, on the end is very small. That's okay. You're going to end up with a bunch of your regular pieces, but basically you want to try to get around that, you know, that 1/2 inch by 4 inch size. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing that. Now this piece here, you can see has a little more fat. You can see it here. See that? You just remove it. It's easily removed, right? So just pick and remove it and put it aside. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to try to figure out the best way to cut it, which looks like I start with a cut there and a cut there, and now I've got a piece here that I can continue to cut. All right, so I'm going to continue doing this and get them all cut. There we go. That's the last of it right there. So with our tripa now all cut and trimmed, we can make our way back to the stove and get cooking. Let's get our pot fired back up again. Let's get that warmed up. And now to the base, we're going to add all that beautiful tripa that we cut up earlier and prepared. And at this point, what you want to do is you want to get the tripa completely covered with that beautiful base of a sauce that we prepared earlier. So get everything tossed up and coated. You want all that tripa to get coated with all that beautiful flavor that we have already developed. Yes, and you know what I'm going to say, when you think you've mixed enough, mix some more. You want to make sure that your tripa is coated nicely with those beautiful flavors. Okay, so I'm still waiting for the temperature to come up. But at this point, this is also the stage where you want to add your salt to taste. So as I'm waiting for the heat to come up, again, you add salt to taste at this point. And again, once you've done that, mix it around just to mix that salt all over. There we go. All right, let's put it on high and bring it up to temp. And then once it comes up to temp, what we're going to do is lower it down, and we're going to want to cook it for 3 to 5 minutes. So you can see here now our temperature is starting to sizzle a bit. So I'll drop it back down to medium heat, and we're going to cook it on medium for I'm going to give it 5 minutes on medium heat. Just stirring occasionally. There we go. After 5 minutes, everything is flavored up very, very, very nicely. And we're going to keep the heat on medium. And now we're going to add our tomatoes. In fact, we're going to add passata. This is my own homemade passata, which is otherwise known as strained tomatoes. Of course, I'm using homemade, but you can use store-bought strained tomatoes as well. Anywhere from 750 milliliters to 1 liter, which is about 25 ounces up to about 34 ounces. So basically 1 jar of strained tomatoes. Same thing now, just kind of get that mixed in together. Now my strained tomatoes I have already salted, so I do not need to add any more salt at this point, but you may want to check to make sure your strained tomatoes are salted. If not, again, you could taste the tripe a little later, and you could always add more salt to taste as need be. So we're going to bring this, let's bring it up to a boil. There we go. Now that we have it up to temperature, I can drop it down to medium to medium low. And now what we're going to do is we want this to cook at least for 1 hour, preferably 2. And my passata, the homemade passata, as you can see, is relatively thin in nature. It's liquidy, a little more liquidy. So I'm going to cook this with the lid off. You don't want it soupy. You want a little bit of sauce left over once it's finished cooking. So I'm going to let the sauce cook down, and we're going to let this simmer on medium to medium low for up to 2 hours. I will stir it occasionally in the meanwhile, but we're going to keep the lid off and let it go. If your passata is thicker, you can cook with the lid on or with the lid partially on. You could always do this as well, right? Depending on your passata. But I'm going to try to evaporate mine and thicken it up. So we're going to let it cook as is. Oh, and I almost forgot. You want to add 1 sprig of rosemary. Fresh rosemary preferred. I happen to have previously frozen. That's okay. But you want 1 sprig of rosemary. Add it to the sauce, and we want to let that simmer with the trippa for the next 1 to 2 hours. According to my timer, it is now approaching, we're almost an hour and a half. And as you can see, our sauce has thickened up very nicely. It's no longer liquidy as it was before. So I'm not going to let this go the entire 2 hours because I want to dig into this right away. So first thing we want to do, remove your sprig of oregano or rosemary. You can remove that, and let's remove the lamb. And now the lamb, of course, is going to be super delicious. That'll be eaten as a side on its own, and this can now be plated. Okay, I have turned the heat off. Oh boy, I'm telling you folks, this is going to be so good. I am looking forward to the taste test. 2.5 pounds of trippa. Doesn't look like much, does it? It's just enough for a perfect side dish. That's what it is right there. Looky there. That to me is perfect. Okay, taste test coming up. Oh yes, as you know, my absolute favorite part. There you have it, folks. Trippa EVOO style. It might not look much to you who maybe are not used to eating trippa, but I'll tell you what. Oh my, folks. Just the right amount of heat. The flavor is phenomenal. For those of you who like to eat trippa, you've just taken your tripe to the next level. This recipe is phenomenal. It is absolutely delicious. I know Laura can't get past the texture of eating trippa, But I tell you what, if you can, give it a try. And if you're wondering if it's healthy, just take a look on Google, or just Google the results for health benefits of tripe. You will be surprised. But this tripe, this trippa, is absolutely delicious. I am so happy that I've been able to share this recipe with you today. And as you know, it'll make me even happier if you make this dish and try it. It is absolutely delicious. I hope you enjoy it. I am going to enjoy it right now with a fresh piece of Italian bread. And I will finish off or get into that wine that I cracked open earlier. So thanks for tuning in. And as always, until next time, buon appetito.